Hi, this is Denise with PaperKraftD, and I'm here today to share with you a guest design team project that I worked on for Anna Torres. On Etsy, she is Lace Boutique 1, and on YouTube, she is Anna's Wonderland. So this little gem of a journal is dedicated to my grandmother, Mary Gallardo. That's her maiden name, and this is a picture of her here. I knew as soon as I saw the Bella Spain kit that I wanted to dedicate this journal to her, and so I went down that rabbit hole of scanning a bunch of old photos of when she was young, and I'm so glad I did. There's some absolutely beautiful photos in there, and there's only one of the sisters remaining alive now, from her whole family. So, I want to, share some of these photos with the family, make sure I have all the names on them and stuff, so that we can identify them, and, I've digitized them for future generations. So I'm really, really happy I had the opportunity to do that. And to share this with you today. I created this beauty out of a antique book. I have the whole process video linked up here, or just how I created the cover of it anyhow. Anyway, the base of this, I used a curved spine. I made a curved spine for it because it was a much thinner book, so I wanted a bigger 2-inch spine to this, and I created a curved one so it would lay a little flatter, and I did the hidden spine on this. It's hidden spine technique, so there's actually like a little bit of a gap here. See if you see there's a gap between where the signatures are tied in and the spine itself. I used all sorts of really just gorgeous fabrics and trims in this. I just absolutely love the way this turned out. It's so soft and feminine, and it just really reminds me of my grandmother. I used, this is from the Crushed Velvet kit, this print right here, and I printed it on some sticky back canvas and used that to cover the spine. And then the back, I just have this little bit of trim here that I use as a little pocket, and I have this little insert in here for journaling, and some scissors. I tried to dedicate this mainly to my grandmother's younger life, but my grandmother was a phenomenal seamstress, so that just really has kind of special meaning for me with her. I used a combination of antique and vintage papers and trims and fabrics, and then more modern contemporary papers and fabrics as well as some printables. This is a vintage earring. It wasn't my grandmother's, but it's definitely something she would have worn, so I love that. I added a couple little flowers here, and I put a little gesso on it to kind of give some dimension after I colorized it. And put a couple little rhinestones in there. I wanted to protect the picture that this was in, so I used like a little card insert, and this picture can actually come out. If I need to, I can pull it out with some tweezers, and I could change it out if I wanted to. I mean, I don't really want to, but I just wanted to make sure mainly that it was protected. So I used a couple of Tim Holtz pieces here. This is one of his metal tags that he has, and this is from a Deep Impressions embossing folder, and I just cut it out and inked it up a little bit so that it would have a little bit of depth to it, and I added over top. I added a little bit of some gold paint inside of there. I use this really sheer ribbon here as a closure, and just open it up like this. And you can see this is one of the pieces that I used this binding method with some fabrics, and I will include a video showing how I do that up here. But I added some more fabric, printed fabric in the interior, and then I used some vintage placemat as a pocket here. And this is a photo that was in my grandmother's with all of her photos. And I'm not entirely sure who this is. I think this might be her oldest sister, Isabel. And this might be their grandmother, but I don't even know her name. So I need to, you know, contact some family members and try to figure that out. I just included a little, this is a little stamp from Spain. There, I didn't want to glue it down because I'm not even sure that it's been used, but it was just really beautiful. And I included some, this is some antique ledger paper on the back for journaling. And it just slips right in there, and she kind of peeks out. And then this is also from the crushed velvet kit from Anna. And then in this little pocket here, I printed this on some deli paper. It's got some, you know, rough edge here that kind of inked up. I really love that. And then there's a little bit of trim right here and some embossing. You can see the embossing a little bit more on the other side rather than this side. But I thought that was really pretty. You can see the embossing there. And then in here, there's just this little tag that was part of the kit. And again, I embossed that, did some stamping, heat stamping on velvet. And then I had a little velvet ribbon and some, you know, this little pin just with a little, another Tim Holtz pearl there. And you can see the embossing on the other side. This is just strips of coffee dyed paper and a little tag there. I'm just going to put it off to the side for now. And then I had this. This is part of the digital kit as well. This is from the Bella Spain kit. I just love this. It's like an old like a receipt invoice from 1959. Added a little trim here, and added again some paper that makes a nice crunchy sound to it. And then this is actually antique railroad ledger from 1864. I had a little tape there just to make it look authentic. And again, I have this vellum, printed this on vellum, so it's kind of translucent, over some paper from a stamp book that's from Spain, Spanish stamps, antique stamps. Again, some more of that antique ledger paper. And then this is from a Spanish English dictionary, and these are some images that they had in there, and this is vintage, of course. And this is some really beautiful coffee dyed paper that I had made using a special technique with old school papers. That's why it has a lot of like blues in it. I just love the colors in this and the way it turned out. It's just gorgeous. I have a video up here showing how I made these. And it's actually a really fun technique to reuse some old school papers. Again, this is another page that I had used a fabric binding on, and then I added this little die cut right here. I put some like a glossy accents type thing on there, and then used some Copics to colorize it, which I really love the way that turned out. This is a Tim Holtz embossing folder, kind of an older one, but it's like a postcard. Add a little bit of trim on here. Oh, I add a little piece of paper for some journaling. And then I have this tag that I used as a corner tuck. Did some slow stitching on here, just some messy slow stitching with some heat embossed velvet and another little piece, a couple pieces of trim fabric here. And then this is another family photo. I do not know who these people are, so I need to contact my family and ask them. But these, they're from, I think it says Almeria, which is part of Spain. And that just tucks in right there. Got this paper right here, which was part of a mouse pad actually. And I really just love the rose in there. I think it went well with the theme. This is some vintage notebook paper. Got some tea-dyed paper in here. This is from a graph paper, and it folds out like that. And again, this is part of a page from the original antique book. I added some washi tape here to reinforce the page when I put it in the book, when I sewed it in. And I've just got some various collage pieces in here. I've got this little pocket that I made using, again, just some embossed papers, this little die-cut butterfly. I've got this ephemera from Tim Holtz and some graph paper on the back. Some of the ephemera that I used in here is from this ephemera pack expedition. So I've got that. This is, again, a really old photo. And I didn't use original photos in this. These are all scanned and then reprinted. But this is an old photo of somebody in our family. I'm not sure who. Again, I need to check with my family. Again, some Tim Holtz ephemera, and I used some coffee dyed paper on the back for journaling, and this antique piece of crocheted trim here, which I thought was really beautiful. And again, this is just a little tuck spot using some, various cutoffs from pieces that I used throughout this journal. This is an antique earring. Again, little piece in here. This is the center of the signature. And then I made this, this just clips right in here like this. And I made this really gorgeous envelope using, again, that deli paper that I printed this printable on. This is crushed velvet. And then inside, I just have this tag that I used. I can journal in here, I can journal on the back, and this is just kind of translucent because it's printed on vellum. And again, this is from Bella, Spain. This just goes over the page like that. And this is kind of a little tag that I created using a picture of my grandmother from the 40s. She's holding a little dog, so cute. And I just put some paper on the back. I love the frayed edge here. And again, some of that heat embossed velvet. Used actually this little paper clip here as a holder for this little flower dangle, which I just love. I've got this envelope, which is also vintage, and I just did some collaging on there. Added, again, some of that paper that I had, that's a school paper. This is from when I was taking Spanish, and I used the Spanish notebook paper that I had taken class notes on, and I dyed it, coffee dyed it. I just love the way this turned out. I think it really is beautiful, just the design, and it just is very, very much reminds me of my grandmother and that Spanish side of the family. And this is another picture of her when she was young. So I just kind of slid that in there. And I made a little tuck spot for this envelope right there. And I just love the way it has lots of different, fabric pieces and different sizes of paper that just provide a lot of interest as you're, going from page to page. It makes you want to see what's coming next, right? I had one of these pieces of paper that I had coffee dyed. And this is just some embossing paste that I had put on there using a stencil. This little photo of my grandmother and her younger sister just comes right out. I think this is super cute on this little old card. And this is my grandmother Mary and her sister Lola. She's the one right below my grandmother in age. Added a little bit of some journaling paper on the back with antique ledger, and then just did some more collage on here, and these are just clear photo corners. It just tucks right in there. And again, this is I had sewn this in with the fabric. Added a little bit of jute twine there, which I just like the texture of it. I think it looks really pretty. Added a little bit of some tissue paper over the top of this Spanish-English dictionary page. Used a tiny little Tim Holtz clip to put this little slide in here. And this is a vintage slide mount. And this is my grandmother and her sisters and some friends in there. Don't they look glamorous? I just love that. Added a little bit of trim here. And then this is one of my grandmother's really good friends, lifetime friends. This is some vellum that I embossed, and I love that you get this really kind of cool design on the back. And this is, I had printed on this as well, so you get like this sheer printed thing, as well as just the subtlety of it being embossed, and it shows up even better on the back, which I just love. I love the way that looks. I've added some of this really beautiful vintage trim to this. I just love that. The colors were really nice in that. And then there's like this sheer fabric, which is what I made this tie out of. And some of this beautiful fabric as well. This is really kind of an interesting piece that I made, and I'm gonna have to do a tutorial on how I made this, but this is just using up some of my scraps, fabric and trim scraps, and I just love the way it looks in here. It just really, I think, does a nice job of kind of tying in some of the colors that I have. I think it's beautiful, and it just adds a lot of texture. And this is some trim as well. And this is again from the Bella Spain, and there's this little embossed portion there. And there's the embossing on the other side. I again embossed on this vellum piece. This is a flamenco dancer, and this is from the Spanish pages in a vintage encyclopedia. Some more of that paper, just love that. I made a little pocket on this page using some vintage, more of that vintage placemat, a Tracy label, and a little die cut butterfly. And let's see, this is really cool. My grandmother wasn't a nurse, so I don't know where they were working that they had these cute little caps in their hair. But she's pretty young here, so that's really a cool old photograph. And then I just have this really kind of interesting, you know, cut off paper, got some printed vellum, and then again this is part of the antique railroad paper, some antique ledger paper, some coffee dyed paper. So this is just a nice little booklet in here. So I thought that was really kind of a fun little thing to insert in there for some extra journaling. And then the back side has this beautiful photo of my grandmother. I love that one. It actually was a you know, photo booth photos with her friends and stuff, so it's super cute. And it's got a little flower here with a antique button, and this is a ticket that I had made, and you can printed this off on some other beautiful printable paper. I'll include the video here for how I made these, and a link to my Etsy shop in the description below where you can find that digital. I did some embossing on the corner of this page right here, which I think is super fun. I included a little vintage doily in there, and this is an envelope from the dollar spot at Target that I got years ago. I did a little bit of embossing on that, and this is a photo of my Uncle Johnny. This was the youngest brother in my grandmother's family, and look at that. I love this old picture because, you know, they worked and lived in Vacaville, which was a huge agricultural town in Central California. So I thought that was really kind of a fun picture. It showed that time period. And this is again some of that antique ledger. Just added a little strip here. And here's a bookmark that I made, and it has these gorgeous tassels, which I love because they go over the edge of the spine of the book, which I think is super cute. I just used some little Tim Holtz people, and this is just collage of various different papers with embossing and some trim and stuff. So I thought that was a lot of fun. So you can see this is a photo. This is my grandmother Mary, and this is her sister Lola. She's like a year and a half younger. I don't know who this Elise is, or is it Elsie? Yeah, must have been one of their friends. But this is Betty, and that's actually the woman in this photo here is Betty. Yeah, so they were good friends throughout their lives. So I just added a couple little pieces of trim here and a butterfly. I thought that was really pretty. And then this, I thought this was hilarious. This is a picture of my grandmother and a bunch of her friends with a bunch of musical instruments. And I don't think these were any of their instruments. I think they had some friends that, guys that were in this band or whatever, and then they just posed with all of them. I just thought that was super cute. They have a bunch of photos of them just being silly, you know. So then I've got some more of the trim here. I think that's really beautiful. Again, some more of that embossed vellum. This is some of the printable from Anna's Bella Spain kit. I love this photo here of my grandmother, and I think, I don't know who the other if that's Lola or if that's somebody else, but that's this is my grandmother right here, and they are in Santa Cruz at the beach. I just love that picture, and I just took and I put a little pin in there, and I just you know, included it over the top of this page. I just love, this is again the other side of that page that I'll have to make a video on how I created that, because I just love the way it turned out. It just adds so much texture. And I added just a little pin with a little pearl there, and again some this is from an antique tablecloth, and this just reminds me so much of my grandmother. My entire life my grandmother had a tablecloth just like this on her table. So I love this tablecloth. It just reminds me so much of her. And this is her friend Betty. This is the one I was telling you, you know, the picture of her when she was little in there. And look at that, isn't she a beauty? And she's, you know, doing something with like fruit packing here. I just love the way that one turned out. And she's got, I put this frame from Tim Holtz. I just embossed it, and it's an embossing cut and folder. And this is actually a an over the page bookmark, like a hidden paper clip type thing. So this is what it looks like in the back. And I added some of this gorgeous trim here. And then this pulls out just like that. You can see, isn't she lovely? I don't know if those are oranges or tomatoes, whatever those are. And then this is the back side of it. That goes like that. And then the paper clip just goes over the top. Like that. Got some fabrics here. And again, some more embossing right here. And here comes the kitten. You can see his we got a new kitten, and he is super curious. All right. So yeah, some more of that deep embossing folder right here. This is from the Bella Spain kit. And you can see I did some embossing on there. Used some embossing folder on there. I printed this on some of that really inexpensive paper sorry, that you get at the dollar store. It's like, you know, that like newsprint paper. Hey, no, come here. I know. But I just love that it gives like a different color and a different texture and a different weight for it. And I have this embossed, I use that same postage stamp embossing folder right there. And I really love this photo. This is my grandmother, and this is not my grandfather. So, you know, this was when she was very young. She looks like she's about 15 there. So that's kind of just a fun, you know, picture of her with some music on the back. Oh, who's a cute guy? Okay, okay.
He looks so cute.
He does look so cute.
You gotta put that in.
All right, I will. Okay. So I used some more of that texture paste on there and a little bit of washi. And I have this rusty paper clip that I made that I just love the way that one turned out. And this just comes off of there like that. I again printed this on some deli paper and made a glassine envelope, which I just love the way this looks, and it has like a translucent quality to it as well. It has this little edge, which I really love. And I just decorated a tag. And this is my grandmother and her friends and sisters, and you can tell they're like working maybe out in the field or something. They've got their hair up in a kind of like a 50s style, which is super cute. And I got this vintage trim in there as well, which reminds me a lot of my grandmother. Got this other picture of my grandmother in here, and I like this one's just, you know, paper clipped in. She and one of her friends, this one's my grandmother, on in front of this fancy car. And then here's another picture of my grandmother and, you know, her brothers and sisters and all of their friends, and they're at Santa Cruz. I just thought that was super cute of them. And then here I just made a little pocket, put a little simple little tag with some trim on it. And then this is another picture of my grandmother. This one's from the 40s. She's a little bit older here. And I just love that it has this little paper clip with a little dangle, a little rose dangle on there. And again, some embossing on the back. I just think that's really pretty. And then here I have a tag that I kind of just stuck in as a bookmark. And this I did some embossing, you know, with an embossing folder. And then inked it up and then added some of that texture paste over the top. And I really love the way that turned out. I think it looks really cool and kind of adds a little bit of like a rusty look, but just beautiful. And then some sari silk and some lace on the bottom. I just put it on this page right here. Just added a little bit of trim to this one. And then again, some more of that tablecloth. And then in the very back, I have, used this die cut from Tim Holtz in vellum, and made this little tuck spot for some more ephemera. Just thought that was kind of cool. Another picture of my grandmother. I love that on front porch. And then just this, I've got this little frame that has some glitter on the inside. And then just a plain tag in the very back. And this is just, you know, the plain tag just kind of provides a little bit of a backdrop for the okay. And then on the very back cover, again, I've got this little journaling spot And I just used a bulb pin to attach this to this lace so it wouldn't keep falling out every time I opened the book. And I just used a little eyelet right here. And then I have this little scissor charm on that. And a little rusty paper clip, which I love. And then this has just a bunch of, you know, papers that I did a little bit of rusting on that one. I think that turned out super cool. But just little papers for journaling. And that this is like a little back pocket. I really love, you can see the cover through there. And I just love all of the trims. Look at that. Doesn't that look cool? All the trims that you can see, you know, from the side. Both ways. I just love the way that looks. I just think it turned out really cool. And then this is the front. And again, more of that, you know, tablecloth that I just love. And these pieces are just, you know, peeking out from inside. So I love that look. You get that peekaboo effect. And then this is the bookmark with the tassel. And I just love it. I just love the way this turned out. I'm super happy with it. It just has a lot of sentimental value to me. Obviously, I'm going to be keeping this one for myself and doing some journaling about, you know, my grandmother and memories of her and her sisters and brothers and their family. And I'll invite, you know, other cousins that we have to contribute if they'd like to as well. You know, identify who all the people in the pictures are and, you know, share any stories that they might have. So I want to thank Anna Torres so much for the lovely digitals that I used in this kit. And I want to thank you so much for joining me today. It's been a little while since I've posted, and I'm just really grateful to all of the people that have stuck with me and helped my channel continue to grow. I am hoping to make it to 5,000 subscribers by the end of the year, so we'll keep our fingers crossed and see how that goes. And when I do that, I will have some sort of giveaway, so be looking out for more details on that as that goal gets closer. I want to encourage you, if you are you like this kind of content, to subscribe to my channel. And if you are already subscribed and want to know when I come out with new videos, hit the bell and you'll be notified whenever a new video comes out that I make. So again, thank you so much for joining me today. This is Denise with PaperKraftD, and craft on.